Hi friends, it is Wednesday, May 13th, 2020. We are starting a new unit called Data and Graphing. So today we are going to be categorizing data using a table. Our learning targets are we can sort and record data, into categories, and we can use the data to solve word problems. So what is data? Data is information that is collected. We use data to do research or to discuss different ideas and topics. Here's an example. What's your favorite fruit? So let's say that I wanted to know which fruits students in room 15 like. So I would ask the question, what's your favorite fruit? And then I would record the results on a chart or a table just like this. So on this chart, I asked if people liked apples, bananas, or oranges. And these are the results. So this would be my data. How do we collect data? You collect data by asking a question to a group of people. Depending on what you want information about, you need to form a question and then you would ask people that question. Then you would also decide answers or the data or information that you want to collect. So you might ask, what's your favorite color? And then you would choose colors that people had to choose from. And we call this data collection. So the colors I chose were blue, green, yellow, red, or pink. And then every time somebody chose a color, you can put a tally mark. And then this is your data. So let's look at some information that we can sort and classify. Sorting means to organize information. To classifying means to arrange or sort the information or data into similar groups. So once you have all of your information, you need to make sense of it. So you have to sort it and classify it. So let's look at these animals. I have lots of animals here. How can we sort and classify these animals? So I want to organize my information based on similar characteristics. So take a second. You can pause the video if you want to look at the animals. How can we group these animals using certain similarities? So let's think of how the animals are similar. We can group them by their species, which is types of animals, body parts. Some examples could be fur, feathers, scales, legs, no legs, wings, or fins. Or we could also sort them by their behavior, which is not a body part, but it's just another idea. And then we can sort it by warm-blooded or cold-blooded. So we can use this chart to classify the animal. So here are some animal characteristics. So you can pause the video to look at it if you want. If you remember, we did something like this in Mystery Science. We grouped animals based on their characteristics. And these are some of the characteristics that we used. So let's use animal species to sort and classify the animals. So we will use bird, mammal, reptile, or fish. So we're going to sort and classify the pictures of the animals based on these 4 categories. So this would be my data collection. So let's sort the animals using the species as a classification. So remember, our species include mammals, fish, birds, and reptiles. So I've already sorted them for you. Here are all the mammals. Here are the fish, the birds, and the reptiles. So now let's take a look at how many animals there are in each category. If you want, you can pause the video and count it for yourself. So once we count how many, we need to write it down and organize our information. This is called recording our data. So after sorting and classifying the animals, we need to record the data. We can record the data in a chart using tally marks just like this. So we had 4 birds, 8 mammals, 5 reptiles, and 3 fish. So we call this type of chart a tally graph because we use tallies, which you should know how to do already because we've done this a lot in class. After we record the data on a tally graph, now we have to analyze the data. So after you collect your data, you record it on a chart like a tally graph. Now you need to look at the results, and this is called analyzing data. So analyzing means to examine the information or data more closely. When we analyze the data, we look for patterns, similarities, and differences. So here is our tally graph. Let's analyze the data. We're going to use math actions we already know to help us analyze the data. The math actions we're going to use are put together and compare. I'm going to show you what that means. So math actions, you need to look for keywords. You're going to be given a ton of questions, and you have to use the data and math actions and equations to help you solve the questions. So the first math action we're going to look at is put together. Here are some examples of what you might see. How many are there? How many? So here's an example using this data. How many birds, mammals, and reptiles are there? So I need to look at the number of birds, mammals, and reptiles, and I need to put them together. And remember, put together equals addition. So I would add 4 plus 8 plus 5, which equals 17. Because there are 4 birds, 8 mammals, and 5 reptiles. Now, here's another math action that we are going to be using. Compare. Remember, how much more or how much fewer? Or how many more is always. Compare. How many more is always. Compare. How many more is always. Subtraction. Remember that chant that we always say? So you're going to be answering a lot of comparing questions. And the whole point of taking data is to compare the results or to analyze the data. So you want to know like how many more? Well, let me show you some examples. So there are the keywords, how much more or how much fewer, how many more. So here are some examples. How many more mammals than birds are there? And the equation would be 8 minus 4. Remember, you always have to use subtraction when you're comparing, not addition. So there are 8 mammals and 4 birds. You want to know how many more there are, okay? How many fewer fish than reptiles are there? 5 minus 3 equals 2, okay? Because there are 5 reptiles and 3 fish. So basically that means that there are 4 more mammals and birds, and there are 2 more reptiles than fish. Okay, so let's take a look at what you're going to be doing today. So I have an example. Just give me a second to set it up. Okay, so here's an example of a worksheet that you're going to be using today. Okay, so we have some animals again here. You're going to have pictures. So let's read the directions. Count and categorize each picture to complete the table with tally marks. So the classifications are right here. No legs, 2 legs, and 4 legs. So let's start with no legs. I see only one animal, which is the snake, has no legs. So I'm going to write 1 tally mark right here. Let me use a different color. 2 legs. I see the flamingo, the rooster, and the penguin. So I see 1, 2, 3. And then 4 legs. I see the polar bear, the lion, and the rabbit, or the bunny. 1, 2, 3. Okay? So now you need to go down to question number 2. Same thing. So you are going to count and categorize each picture to complete the table with numbers. And this word, it's not a table like this that you do your work on. Nope. it is like a table like this. Another word for table is chart. Okay? So fur or feathers are the categories that we're going to be using to sort and classify these pictures. So let's start with fur. I see a fox, rabbit, panda, and a tiger. So here I see 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then let's switch colors. For feathers, I see this crow, owl, and some type of bird. 1, 2, 3. Okay? So now we just practice recording our data. Okay, next question. Use the animal habitat table to answer the following questions. Arctic, forest, and grasslands. Ooh, habitats. We learned about habitats. So how many animals live in the Arctic? So you are not using the information from above. You are using the information from this table right here, okay? So how many animals live in the Arctic? Well, I see that there are 6. So I'm going to write 6. How many animals have habitats in the forest and grasslands? So my friends, you really want to pay attention to the keywords. So I'm going to circle my keywords. How many animals, habitats, forest, and grasslands. So I see how many, forest, and grasslands. So that tells me that I need to put together. Put together what numbers? Well, I'm going to look at forest, which is right here, and grasslands. So I'm going to be adding 11 plus 9, which equals 20. Okay? Now, in your assignment, it says that you need to write an equation. So please don't just write 20. You need to show me if you added or subtracted. Okay, you have to show me that equation. All right? So let's go on to the next question. How many fewer animals have Arctic habitats than forest habitats? Let's look at the keywords. How many fewer animals? And my friends, you can just circle phrases. You don't have to circle each individual word. Okay? Arctic habitats, then forest habitats. So how much more or how many fewer? That means it is compare. So I need to subtract 11 minus 6 because forest is 11 and Arctic is 6. Okay, so let me get rid of that. Okay, so 11 minus 6, which equals 5. Question D. How many more animals would need to be in the grassland category to have the same number as the Arctic and forest categories combined? Oh, this is tricky. Let's look at the keywords. How many more animals would need to be in the grassland category to have the same number as the Arctic and forest categories combined? Oh, my friends, this is a lot of work. Okay, please pay attention. So here they're asking, the grassland has 9. They want to know how many more you would need to have the same number as the Arctic and the forest. So I need to do 2 equations. First, I need to combine Arctic and forest. 11 plus 6 equals 17. Then I need to see how many more. 9 plus, this is find the missing part. Find the missing part. You had the hole in one of the parts, so you're trying to solve the other part. So 9 plus equals 17. So I need to go 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, which is, let me write in a different color, 8. The answer is 8. Because 11 plus 6 is 17. And if you were to add more to the grasslands, you need 8 more to equal the same as that. Does that make sense? That was a tricky question. Okay, question E. How many total animal habitats were used to create this table? How many animal habitats? Well, I see 1, 2, 3. Okay, that's 3. Question number 4. Let's move this up and I'll move it back down if we need to look at the table. Oh, question number 4 is a new chart. Use the animal classification table to answer the following questions about the class pets in West Chester Elementary School. So, how many animals are birds, fish, or reptiles? So it looks like I'm going to be in how many animals, birds, fish or reptiles? Looks like I'm just going to be adding. So I need to add 7, because that's for birds, 15, and 9. So I know that 7 plus 9 equals 16. 16 plus 15 equals, I could do 10 plus 10, which equals 20. 6 plus 5 equals 11. 20 plus 11 equals 31. That's my answer. Sorry, it's a lot of numbers right there. How many more birds and mammals are there than fish and reptiles? Okay, so first, this is a tricky one. First, I need to do how many more, but how many more birds and mammals are there than fish and reptiles? Okay, so I need to draw, I'm going to use a tape diagram to help, or strip diagram, strip diagram. So birds and mammals is on top, okay, and then fish and reptiles is on bottom. So birds and mammals is 7 plus 18, which equals 25. So 25 is on top. And then fish and reptiles, 15 plus 9, which equals 24. So it's basically 25 minus 24, which equals, oopsies, 1. Whoa. Sorry. Equals 1. Oh, I can't write it. It keeps moving. There we go. 1 is the answer. Okay? There was a lot of math right there also. So you really have to pay attention to what the question is saying. Okay? How many animals are classified? Oh, you have to put all the animals together. So you need to do an equation. I'm going to use a different color so you can see my work. 7 plus 15 plus 18 plus 9. You know what? I'm going to use a vertical equation for this, okay? 7, 15, 18, 9. Make sure that's in the ones place. We add in the ones, tens, hundreds. So 7 plus 5 is 12. 12 plus 8 is 30, 20. And then 20 plus 9 is 29. So I write a 9 right here. Regroup 10, 10 ones, you regroup for 1, 10. But we had 29, so you need to write a 2 right here, okay? 2 plus 1 equals 4. So 49 animals. That is a lot of animals at the school. Okay, question D. If 3 more birds and 4 more reptiles were added to the table, how many fewer birds would there be than reptiles? Ooh, this is tricky. Let's use our math brains. So 3 more birds. So let's pretend there are 3 more birds. So I have 7 birds. So if I had 3 more, that would be 10. 4 more reptiles. So right now I have 9 reptiles. So 4 more would be added. That would be 9, 10, 11, 12. How many fewer birds would there be than reptiles? Okay, so right now I'm pretending that I have 12 reptiles and 10. So my keywords are how many fewer birds would there be than reptiles? How much more or how much fewer? So this is compare. I don't know if you can read that one or you write that number. It's 10. So 12 minus 10 equals 2. Okay, my friends, you really have to pay attention to the words, okay? You might have to do more than one equation like I did on this. Okay, so let's take a look at what you're going to be doing today. So you're going to be doing sort and record data into categories. So you need to count the pictures just like I did and then write the tally marks. So you need to take a look at the chart and look at the classifications. You can use the pencil tool to help you. And then here, you are going to be using this tally graph to help you, okay? So you definitely need to write equations, okay, to help you. And then you can put a text box or you can write with a pencil to help you answer the questions, okay? And then here it looks like you're looking at animal habitats once again. On page 2, once again, you're looking at class animals. So you need to read the questions, Pay attention to what it's asking you to do, and then write your equations to show your work, and then click the check when you're done. Okay, my friends, good luck.